You ever watched the Pokemon anime? Ever watched the dub? I'm assuming you have, as the sub is, unlike most anime, the one often pushed aside by Western fans. I mean, fair enough, the dub is what all of us grew up with, and only in recent years did the sub begin to gain traction. Aside from that, a large part of this contrast can mostly be attributed to the high accessibility curve the sub version presents. Well, rather, a lot of that is what the 4Kids version altered and what they've rolled with since. Not only does 4Kids' scent still linger, but it is pungent and putrid in the present day. Once the Pokemon Company took over after 4Kids' utter butchering of the property. Okay, that's a little mean. 4Kids' rendition wasn't terrible. It wasn't the One Piece dub or anything.
Zolo! What's all that noise?
Sanji's lollipop. I want to find out what he's always slurping on.
They had the opportunity to make things right. For one thing, they could finally release the Japanese subbed version with the Blu-rays. But no, God forbid a kid puts on the subtitled version and reads. But that's besides the point. What I'm getting at here is that 4Kids and TPCI changed almost every Pokemon's name, as well as many of the characters' names as well. And rightfully so. I'm glad we don't have to call Umbreon Blackie. Also, Ash is one hell of an iconic name, probably like the most iconic name in Western media. Something a bit annoying to go along with that, since there's no official subtitles, a few different groups have taken it upon themselves to fansub the episodes themselves. I've seen some fansubs resort to keeping the Japanese names for both Pokemon and people, some doing just Pokemon and some retaining all of the original names. But that's hardly an issue. Learning and getting used to a few characters' new names or changing names is hardly a challenge. What would be considered difficult, especially those of not so great memory, would be learning and adapting to every Pokemon's original names who don't have those lovely puns their English counterparts do. Well, I say that, but they're just Japanese puns. But if you are able to overcome those mental roadblocks, then my friend, you are in for probably the best experience you've ever had with the Pokemon anime. Let's start with an egregious dub version butchering the soundtracks. Yeah, they don't actually keep most of the original soundtracks from the original anime. So the overall tone of the dub in many scenes is off right out of the gate. Something I've noticed with the dub is that there's never a break with the music either. It's as if TPCI and 4Kids, I guess by extension, can't bear the empty air and just need something to be playing at all times. Let's take this scene where Ash and friends just got done bearing witness to their first ever sky battle, which I'll give TPCI some credit because they did keep it. But that track ends when the battle ends and there's some downtime afterward. But I swear to God, it wasn't even 2 seconds. 2 seconds before they had to cue in another song from their stock library right away. In the original, it only takes about 10 seconds before it cuts to Route 2's theme, which they actually replace. Route 2's theme, which they had in this episode, wasn't in the dub version. What they replaced it with, I guess I'll play it for you now. Here's what they replaced Route 2's theme with.
Just like what those sky trainers were wearing.
It's called a wingsuit.
These are the coolest.
Great, this one's just my size.
And this is made for me.
And here's the original far better version.
あの人たちはこれを着ていたのね。
ウィングスーツです。
かっこいい。
私のサイズはこれね。
僕のはこれ。
Which, that just sucks to see because Route 2's theme is such a jam. Route 2's theme is a banger, and I love it, but it's gone now. It's gone now. And as you can probably guess, this is not a standalone event. I'll be completely honest, I clicked on a random episode from X and Y to get that example because I knew it would be in any episode, and to further prove that, let's get another episode, which I didn't plan at all. Let's see. Okay, let's do Pokemon Journeys episode 3.
Ready?
Got it.
No, you gotta get up.
Well, so do you, you know.
What is that? Okay. So, this scene here has... In the original, there's no music. There is no music in this scene, but in the original, for some reason, there is like some creepy buildup going on. Or it's like, and it sounds like there's some like mysterious like spacey theme going on. Like, I don't know what's happening. Why is this track even here? That's so funny. It's supposed to be a nice and calm beginning to the day. No music blasting and our protagonists are catching some Z's. That is until Mr. Mime comes in and hilariously mimes a vacuum, pulls the covers off them both, and then that begins the track. Not only is that a far more natural and sensical placement for this track, but it even plays with the idea that the characters can have an effect on the audio cues, which is a super fun idea, and keeps the viewer engaged seamlessly. Oh yeah, and you know that thing in anime where they play a super epic battle track, which is usually the opening, over an awesome scene from an anime, usually a fight scene or a scene where the character is doing something amazing and really inspirational and it just gets your blood pumping? They actually do that in Pokemon too, but only in the Japanese version, of course. Let's return to episode 36 in Japanese, when Ash's Fletchling evolves into a Fletchinder. In the Japanese version, this scene is anime as hell. Just when you think Fletchling is gonna be knocked out, he surpasses his limits, steals himself, and lets out a battle cry and erupts in flame, soon piercing the ball of fire in his evolved form. And just then, the opening begins to play, pumping the viewer up for what would normally be just a pretty cool scene. Speaking of just something pretty cool, let's see the dubbed version. Why does it not sound hype at all? It's almost got like a tinge of dread to it. Like this is like an enemy boss's Pokemon evolving. What? This is supposed to be a positive moment here. This is supposed to be a positive moment. What the hell? You'd think they'd use their opening for this version, because if I remember correctly, XY's opening at this time was pretty sick. You know, the one that goes like, be a hero. Or is that a different one? Okay, it was a remake. It was a remake of the original opening, but that works. Why doesn't that work? That can work. That can make it sound hype as hell. That's the original opening. That thing's iconic. Has the English version ever used any of their openings in the as an insert song? I know they have in the movies, but like straight up, just only in the TV version have they ever used it just as a cool insert song. I don't think so. I think they only use it in the movies, which does make the movies feel more special, but still, come on. Also, just to make sure I don't look like a complete dumbass, I haven't seen Journey, so if they have did it in Journeys, then good on them. But I haven't seen it yet. And if they did it before Journeys, then I'm gonna look like even more of a dumbass, because I think I've seen like most of the Pokemon anime in its entirety. Granted, not for a long time, but my memory ain't the best. Oh, you know what? You know what? I have to mention this. While we're still here, while we're still talking about Sun and Moon's insert songs, I can't not mention Shoko Nakagawa's cover of Type Wild, which if you don't know, was Pokemon Season 1's ending theme from all the way back in the day, and that was by Ash's voice actor back then, Rika Matsumoto. But now, it was Shoko Nakagawa, who has done a few of the insert songs before and some of the openings, and now she did the insert song for the very finale of Pokemon Sun and Moon, where Ash finally defeats Kukui in probably my all-time favorite scene from any anime ever. Like anything, even probably any media. I was screaming my lungs out singing that song, and then when I went to rewatch it in English, oh, that was not the same anime. You cannot tell me that was the same anime, man. Here's some comparisons.
You can do it, Ash!
Go get him!
Gamare, Satoshi!
Hey, can you feel it, buddy? The power of Alola! ピカチュウ、感じるか？アローラの力。
Oh, just Just move on. Let's just move on. I can't bear to watch. Finally, let's take a step away from the music for a little bit and let's talk about voice acting. I know I displayed a few comparisons in the soundtrack segment, but let's try to dig a little deeper into it. Also, let me preface this by saying I mean no ill will towards the voice actors in English, so please, 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 please don't go out of your way to harass any of them. They are fantastic people, I am sure. Just don't do that. Come on. But that version's voice work is, in my opinion, inferior to the Japanese. Just straight up, it's night and day. If you want to talk about an English voice I really adore, it's Sarah's Ash, but I can't with my whole heart say that Sarah beats out Rika Matsumoto. Rika Matsumoto is one of those characters who has played the role for so long, and she has just encapsulated Ash, or rather Satoshi, completely 100%, and you can't really get a voice actor who can voice that character better. Same thing with One Piece, where you have Mayumi Tanaka as Luffy. That is the only voice for Luffy. No other voice can really come close. Now, I'm not saying Ash's voice in the 4Kids version isn't iconic as hell, and that Sarah's isn't iconic as hell, but yeah, it's not as good. Again, this is my opinion, so don't go out of your way to harass anyone because they're bad voice actors or whatever, but they're not. And so we're not just harping on the main character, let's take a look at Mao or Mallow's voice actress in the dub versus the sub. Here's the dub.
And then my dad gets all involved with this crazy TV interview thing, and I wind up getting stuck doing all the work. And on top of that, he leaves all the cleaning and laundry at home to me, while he doesn't do a lick of work anywhere but in the restaurant.
It's not terrible, but let's see the sub now.
でね、お父さんたらテレビの取材に舞い上がっちゃってみんな私に仕事を押し付けるのよ。
やれやれ。
おまけにうちでの掃除や洗濯も全部私に任せきりで店のこと以外何にもしないし。
Yet again, Mallow's English voice actress wasn't bad, but I think we can all agree who the winner is here. Also, I was just editing this video and I realized that the yare yare joke is completely gone in the English version, so that's something else. You'll be missing out on some jokes. Pushing that aside, another Japanese exclusive is banned episodes. I'm sure everyone is aware of the infamous Porygon episode, which hospitalized 685 children via epilepsy. And were you ever wondering how Ash caught all those Tauros? Yeah, it's Japanese exclusive because the English version got banned because of the use of firearms. There's actually a total of 5 more English banned episodes. Beauty and the Beach, where James uses inflatable breasts to win a beauty contest. Holiday Hijinks, I mean, I don't think I have to explain this one. In that same vein, there's Stage Fight, the Mandarin Island Mismatch, and episode 250. All banned because of Jinx, and never re-released with the purple design. And lastly, we're jumping all the way to Sun and Moon's 64th installment due to Ash wearing dark face paint resembling blackface. Not to mention the cutscenes from the English version, like Meowth almost dying twice in Sun and Moon's episode 3, followed by 12. Also, if you're South Korean, then you've got no fewer than 20 episodes to catch up on, since they decided to ban many episodes with overt references to Japanese culture. Couldn't tell you why, though. Actually, you know what? Just watch the sub version because Double Team is Shadow Clone.